Okay, obviously threads is a popular subject. Let's bring everyone in the room. Lots of people here, nice and early. Let's see. We've got Michael Moore, Art, Paul, Joanne, Joy. Okay, can't admit you guys in fast enough. Aloha, aloha, welcome. Trader Rob, Martin, Shelly, Tara. Let's see. Let's make sure we've got you all in. Aloha. I guess threads is a popular subject. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to dive right in, but I want to say hello to everyone. And it looks like Joy, I think she's coming in. All right. Good group today. I may go on a bit of a rant because threads is out, or threads are out. I know it's an interesting plural name, but I want to talk about why threads is important to pay attention right now and why it may not be that important 6 months from now, but let's talk about the right now and the strategy of getting on an app when it's super hot. And by the way, those of you who have been with me for a while, Coach Deb here for those of you who are just meeting me, and welcome to the club. But those of you who've been with me for a while, you know, I don't talk about every new app that's out there, or we would literally only be talking about new apps, right? So when Clapper came out and there were some social media gurus like, that's going to be the next best thing. I literally, you notice I've stayed silent on it. I'll tell you maybe to join it just to lock up your name. But there are certain things that I look at with apps to predict if it's worthwhile for you to pay attention to, and if it's like just another distraction. Clapper, I felt, was a distraction. Yeah, go on, lock your name up. But did I spend much time? I don't even think I sent one tweet. I don't even think I did one video, which maybe that's a bad thing. You should have at least one video or one tweet or thread or post, just so that anybody who is using that app sees you, sees your bio. And by the way, you put a link back to your company or to your sales page or your landing page, your opt-in page, to collect email addresses for apps like that. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about threads and why I feel it's important, or believe it's important, for you to join it and jump on it and give it a little attention. Don't spend all day. It's not like back in the day with Clubhouse in 2020, there were no activities going on. So Clubhouse was the place to be. But we also talked about how Clubhouse would be a moment in time for you to pay attention to it. And then it would probably be less important. And it's the same thing with threads. I don't know what it will be like in 6 months from now, but right now is where the party is at. So again, those of you who've been with me for some time, or again, read the book, Twitter Revolution, way back in 2008, I believe it was. If you got this book and you just let voice in, if you got the book and just literally read it and replaced every word where I said Twitter and replaced it with threads, you would master threads. There is nothing special about threads being a new app. It is just Twitter on Instagram's playground. And again, those of you, a lot of people come in and I'm multitasking, letting people in. Again, those of you who have been with me since 2006, 2008, know that one of the things that I talk about social media is it's your party, it's your front lawn. So you want to gather people around your front lawn. And what do you do at parties? Well, you post questions, you post engaging, thought-provoking conversations that other people get involved with, and you have them all at your front lawn so that you take advantage of the MEE, mere exposure effect, where the more people see you, the more they like you, the more they trust from you, the more they buy from you. So that's really the concept of threads in a nutshell. Again, I'll make sure whatever Voomly course you're in, I'm going to upload a copy of the Twitter Revolution in every one of them. Just know some things that are in there from 2008 are outdated. Like we talked about friend feed in there. I was just reading a couple chapters in there. Obviously that won't be relevant now, but the concepts will be. So when I talk about influence and persuasion, Scobelizer, Robert Scoble, I would read the forward in the intro because that's fascinating. And we see the same thing happening with threads. Again, threads is just a Twitter type of feed or platform, but it's owned by IG. And who is IG? Owned by Facebook. So threads is simply Twitter on the IG hashtag Facebook hashtag Meta platform. But one of the things I was looking at, and again, I would highly recommend you follow Robert Scoble. He's a major influence in Silicon Valley. Great guy. But I got a kick out of the forward when he wrote this again in 2008. And he starts talking about, let me just read this really briefly so that you'll see it. I'm just going to get experts. He starts it with, last night I watched Twitter Revolution during the Republican National Convention. Many people don't understand what I just said. First, most people have never seen Twitter. This book introduces Twitter to you in all of its glory and all of its noisy nonsense too. But what do I mean by watching Twitter? Now, by the way, Robert Scoble is up in Silicon Valley. The fact that he watched the Republican National Convention on Twitter is also significant because I guarantee you he's not a Republican. He is probably a Democrat. He is in with the Silicon Valley universe. So now this is also significant because what we're seeing is people talking about Twitter versus Threads. I don't believe there needs to be one or the other. I don't believe one will rise, the other will fall. I believe both will thrive, both will exist. I believe it's Twitter and Threads. It's Threads and Twitter. It's not either or. So that's why I say pay attention to it. So then he goes on to talk about, well, you can use a tool like Twitter Vision. Now, I think that is one of those things that doesn't exist anymore. He also talks about the two most popular are Friends Feed search engine. Again, that doesn't really exist anymore. And Twitter search engine, which does exist. So here's what's significant about it. And those of you who are just joining, you can put it on mute. We'll open it up for questions. I'm going to go on a rant a little bit about what Threads is. I believe that's the correct plural pronunciation of it. And then we'll open it up for questions. So half rant, half strategy, and then open it up for Q&A, and then talk a little bit about how you can grow your threads in the beginning. So he goes on to say, well, remember the Chinese earthquake in 2008? I was on Twitter that night using Thurl to watch what my friends were talking about. So this is where Robert Scoble and I connected. We both literally tweeted about the earthquake that was happening before any of the USGS websites had ever even confirmed that there was an earthquake. Why? Because we were both Twitterholics. We were both on, let's just make sure everyone's all muted. Otherwise it's going to be a distraction for the feed. There we go. Just making sure y'all are muted. Thank you. Okay. So we were both on it all the time. I was in Hawaii at the time. So I happened to be on it in the late evenings, late times in the evening. So a lot of times, Scobalizer and I would chat about things, or we would see things that were happening across the globe, across the world, when everyone else in New York was sleeping. So that was one of those things that was really significant. There was an earthquake happening that the national feeds, again, the weather feeds, USGS website had not even confirmed, and we beat them by several minutes. And then he says, and 45 minutes before CNN even talked about it, I saw several people in several different cities who had talked about the earthquake. I knew that it was a major seismic event. And sure enough, over the next 3 hours, the news came flooding in. Some people posted URLs to the first news ports in the New York Times and CNN. Others posted photos or videos that their friends had shot, and others came online to talk about their experience. So this is where he and I were connecting and looking at footage that people, so we call this citizen journalism. So I'm talking a little bit about Twitter right now because it then relates to Threads. Okay. And then he goes on to say, this is how, like talk radio, where we hear experiences of everyday people, with one difference. This is a worldwide talk show. And thanks to URLs and the rest of the web, it isn't just words either. So Twitter started with words, but it very quickly went to video, pictures, and posts. Right now, Threads came out and everyone's like, oh, it's great. It's clean feed. It's all just words and text. I am telling you, get the advantage. This is this, where's my puck? This is remember we talk about the puck advantage. This is where you get the puck advantage. Start posting pictures and videos, your short reels that you're doing on the IG platform, TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Start putting them on Threads. You be the first to start sharing video. I guarantee you, this is where it will go. They all do. So he then just goes on to say a few things, and what I think is most important, I won't read the whole thing, but he talked about how he saw, yes, one US senator, I believe it was, let me go to the page, and then go into a warning that it's not your typical book. companies like Zappos and Dell on Twitter. So this is, again, this was revolutionary at the time when everyone else was poo-pooing Twitter as just like a silly platform. Sound the same about TikTok, sound the same about Threads. You might be seeing that in your feed. There's fire departments like Los Angeles who's using Twitter to report And then I've even met 2 congressmen who are actually using Twitter themselves. So again, this is Robert Scoble himself, again, wrote the first or the forward to the book. But the fact that he was talking about 2 congressmen, right? He's like, he agreed. He saw it where it would be something that politicians would use. He saw it that the LA Fire Department would use as a practical use. So while there is obviously a lot of noise as in chatter and a lot of blah, 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 just like if you go to a party and there's a lot of small talk, if you're like me, I have no patience for small talk. Yes, you're going to see that on Twitter and now Threads as well, but go beyond the simple petty stuff that people will criticize it for. And then you look deeply at how the bigger scope of it, and then how you can use it on the platform, use the platform for your business growth, and then for connections. So the way I look at it is, it's not just to get followers. So I think that's the mad rush right now. I even saw someone come out with a course about how to get followers on Threads. We'll talk about that. It's very easy. It's not that hard. We'll go into some strategies of things I did in Twitter back in the day so that you can do the same, but it's not complicated. And if you've used Twitter, it's the same thing. So don't overcomplicate it. Just like when we wrote the book on new media, and then all of a sudden social media became the big thing. And they're like, oh, what is all this? It's the same thing. And what I said back in the day is social media is new media, but with lipstick. And I'm trying to find lipstick here for a visual, with lipstick on, right? That's all social media is new media with lipstick on. So Threads is the same thing as Twitter. It's just on a different platform. So, and by the way, yes, I wrote the first book on Twitter. And yes, I have virtually ignored it for the past, I don't know, year, maybe 2, because I didn't have the same people that I was having engaging conversations with anymore. A lot of people had left, new people had come. So I kind of ignored it for a while. It wasn't useful. Right now, I'm paying attention to Threads, because the exciting part about any type of hot new app comes in, all of the OGs, all of the old influencers, all the old tech people are there first. This is by far the best Threads will ever be, in my opinion. And maybe that's just because I like the tech folks, right? The early adopters, the people talking about the cutting edge, predicting futures. So that's one of the reasons I like about it. But the second reason I like it is because it's where the party's at. And that's where you want to be right now, where everyone is paying attention to it. It's like back in, let's say, go back to the 50s. I wasn't around to go to the movies around the 50s, but so I hear, and so I've read that in the 50s, everyone in the community went to the same movie theater, talked about the same movie that week, right? Now, what do we have? We have Netflix, we have Amazon Prime, we have Hulu, we have Paramount, right? We have all of these apps to give us all of this content. So we're never having the universal conversation about one movie, about one theater experience. Threads right now is like going back to the 1950s. Everyone is there and all having the conversations. That's where the hottest party is. Same thing with Clubhouse back in August of 2020. The world was shut down. We couldn't go anywhere. There weren't conferences. Clubhouse was where the party was at. That's where I sent my clients, because that's where they made real connections. They were operating with the mere exposure effect, which is know, like, and trust, being there, being seen over and over. So other people that would be your client base said, oh, Coach Deb's there. She's teaching about blah, blah, blah. Dr. So-and-so, Paul's there, Michael's there, right? Whatever it is that you do, they're attracted to it. They learn more about you because you are there when your competitors are not. So all of that rant / a bit of strategy in there to hopefully urge you that Threads is important right now. Whether it is 6 months from now or even 30 days from now, I don't know. But right now, this week, get on there, get activity. And then I'm going to give you a few step-by-steps of what to do right now so that you can take advantage of it. Now, some people will go all in, and some people will make predictions that Threads will be Twitter. Again, if you joined late, I'm going to repeat what I said in the beginning. I don't believe it's an either or. I don't think one is going to kill one another. I think it's now competition, and both will get better. Both will force innovation. Both will force their platform to be better for you, the end user. And this is always what we see with competition. So this is good for Twitter because Twitter will get better. Other people are making the predictions that, oh, it's great to be here, blah, 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 blah. So they're making it an either or. What I love about Robert Scoble is one of his threads and tweets. He talks about how I can't bet against either man, Zuck or Elon. And he talks about when he met Elon and innovation and all of this, because there are a lot of people that just hate Elon. So they go to threads and they think, oh, this is better. Forget Twitter. So you're going to see a lot of that. If you want to take a polarizing opinion, that is also fine. So say maybe you say you hate Elon and you go over to threads and you're like, yeah, this is great. Or say you don't like Zuck and you go over to Twitter. That is completely fine. And by the way, it's not a bad idea to take a position because you'll find a tribe of people who believe just like you. And what do we believe about people that believe just like this? We think they're smart. Why? Because they think like us, right? So that is also fine. So again, I'm talking a little strategy, and then beyond Twitter versus threads, there will be other positions, other things and discussions that it's not a bad idea necessarily to not take a position or to take one. Anytime you are polarizing, you will get more followers. Every time you say something that might be controversial or cause debate, will absolutely get you more followers because you'll get all the people that believe just like you. So you don't have to hide your opinions. You just know that some people won't like you because of your opinions, but that's fine because there will be all the people that do believe like you that will love you more than if you were lukewarm. So hopefully that makes sense. If that does, drop a amen or yeah, get it in the comments so that I can get some feedback if what I'm dropping here is landing. Okay, Joanne's like, oh yeah, you get it, Joanne. Enjoy and good to see you all here. Dr. Boyce, Art, Brad, Eva, J Page, JP. What's your first name? Joanne and Joy, Mark, Martin, Michael Moore. It's funny, every time I see Michael Moore, I think the filmmaker, but there's no E on the last name. Paul, Sean Hopkins, Shelly, Tara, Tim, Tom, and Trader Rob. I think I mentioned all of you that are here and nice and early. So again, welcome. We will have this recording up. It may take until Thursday. So if you're here live, count yourself lucky. Amy is with James in Salt Lake City for a few doctor appointments. I'll give you an update for those of you who are following his journey towards the end. But that is the rant. And that is the reason why you want to be there now, because the party's there and that's where you want to be. One of the things I wrote down a couple notes that I wanted to make sure I got to. Oh yeah. So a couple like for strategy. So people are like, okay, what do we do when I'm there? So first of all, for those of you who don't know what threads are, it's just an app. Everyone's calling it new. And while it is, it's really just an extension of Instagram. So it's just Twitter, but run from and linked from Instagram. So here's the cool thing is you don't have to worry about going over there right away if you don't want to lock up your name, because your name is already locked up because it's your Instagram name. Now, a fair warning, this is, again, it may change, but this is the rumor that right now is being reported, that if you do decide to get on Threads and then delete the app or say get off of it, supposedly it also deletes your Instagram. Yeah, I see Joanne's face like, what? Rumor. Don't know it's proven. No, I don't know anyone who's tried it, but that's the rumor, right? So just keep that in mind. But I don't know why anyone would want to. So I think it's a silly debate and discussion. Like you join it, you stay there, you park your name. If you ignore it, you ignore it. You don't have to delete the app. And I'm sure that will change in the future. The second thing is, are there glitches? Yes, there are several glitches. Right in the beginning, there was no @ symbol. So you couldn't say @Joanne or @Eva. Right now, it is there. Same thing with hashtags. So it is new. So they've just rolled it out. Other things will continue. So the people that are criticizing it for not having this, it being a bit disorganized in the replies, all this is true. All of this will work itself out. We've seen this over and over again with every new app. But when you join, you're joining with being connected with your Instagram. It's your same exact username. You cannot change it. So whoever you are on Instagram, you're over there. And this is where For those of you who were in my boot camp last year, when I talked about how the things you build today will benefit you tomorrow, everyone who's like, oh man, I ignored Instagram. This sucks. Oh, I don't really have any followers because I never spent the time to feed it. Whereas the people who have been paying attention to Instagram, growing their followers, growing their feeds, and creating reels and content are super happy because there's a link that, or an option that you can choose that says follow everyone you follow on Instagram. I highly recommend you do that. Scott Monty, who was the former guy who was in charge of Ford's social, he actually replied to me recently. And again, so I'm seeing all these OGs, people that we connected with like 10, 15 years ago, which again, I think is very cool. But one of the things he said is he's doing something totally different. He's actually choosing to only select a very small group of people to follow, as opposed to the cluttered Instagram followers. That's fine. You can also do that. But if you are like most of you here to grow a following, you want to be following those people because the second they join, they also are following you back. The second thing, so first of all, yes, click that button to follow all the people that's again, my advice, right? It's why you pay me the big bucks to give you the advice of what I do. You're welcome to do something different. That is, your free will, but I'm giving you the strategies of how to build your followers fast on Threads. So if you have a lot of followers on Instagram, you go over there, you say, yes, follow the same people. So that way, when they join, they see you're following them, they follow you back, and hopefully they're choosing the same thing. So they'll automatically follow you. So that's why, so Perry Belcher, last Friday, he's like, how do some people, like the app just came out, how do some people have so many followers? It's because they had so many followers on Instagram, and then they're pulling them all in. The second reason is that they have so many followers is they're posting about it on their current platforms. So post your username on Facebook and say, hey, are you on Threads? Post your link to your username so we can all follow you back, and then put yours in there so they can easily click on that, and they might be your first follower, or you might be their first follower. And that's the second thing is, in the beginning, it gets noisy. Yes, fair warning, but I have my notification on everything. So when I get now I stopped it because you only do this for like the first couple of days and then it gets really busy. But in the beginning, what's really cool is you get a notification when someone first joins. So I posted on Facebook, people that are following me on Facebook or Twitter or wherever else, they then follow me on Threads, and then I follow them back, especially if I like them, if they're, one of my friends from a former app. What's cool about that is people always remember their first follower. So you become their favorite person in their feed because you were the first to give them that attention that they so desperately crave. So be that first follower, so that there's a benefit to having your notifications on. And if I turn this on, I'm sure, I'm going to see lots of notifications for threads. If I keep scrolling up, right? Yes. So it is noisy. You don't have to necessarily do that, but there is a strategy on paying attention to people in the beginning. The second thing is, yes, you want to tweet. And someone asked, well, how often? As often as you want. And I say tweet, I guess thread. So post, I'm just going to say post. First, I was saying just at least 3 to 5 posts, morning, afternoon, evening. So you're getting people on all the different time zones. One of the reasons why my follower is so diverse is because I'm following people that are, say, in England, because I'm a night owl. So a lot of times I'm tweeting or threading or posting midnight, 1 a.m. when people in London are just waking up, and you're the only person in their feed, especially if they're following a bunch of Americans, right? So that was one of the benefits when I was in Hawaii. And that was why I was such a Twitter addict, because by the time I was ready to go to sleep in Hawaii, like say midnight, all of a sudden New York was waking up, and then I started tweeting back to them. So it got a little exhausting, but again, that's my business. You're Dr. Boyce. You don't want to do this all the time. You might want to just have a few posts. And by the way, I would have your receptionist, like, give them a group of posts, some questions, some quotes, some thoughts, give them in a G doc and go, here you go, post these. So that way you don't have to do the mechanics of it. You have your receptionist who's, welcoming clients, and then she's sitting there twiddling her thumbs. Utilize her time by just giving her the tweets/post to put on your social, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Threads now, and on Instagram. So that's how you kind of leverage your time. Now, you could be very aggressive and say every hour on the hour or about thereabout, put something new. And that way, all of these people who are joining, they wind up seeing you in their feed, especially right now when they're only following a few people. And when only a few people, by few, I say, hundreds versus thousands and millions that are on the platform, on the other platforms. It is one of the fastest growing apps, but I can't say that it's record breaking because it's simply Instagram, it's LinkedIn. So of course it grows quickly because you're just literally getting all of your followers from one platform and you're bringing them over. By the way, if you go to my threads, and by the way, again, it's Coach Deb everywhere, just like it is on Instagram, just like yours will be. If you go there, I retweeted Chris Perillo's video. He's like, get things done in like 2 minutes. So it is a horizontal video, but it's 2 minutes. Whereas he was a tech influencer back in the day, still is, but that's when I met him back in the day. And he would do videos of long form videos. That was anywhere 7, 8, 12, 15 minutes. Now 2 minutes, even the horizontal videos. So our attention span with all of the noise out there, that's our limit, 2 to 3 minutes. Even the shows on YouTube, we're tracking 3.5 minutes. So if you're wondering how long your show should be, 3.5 minutes. So right now you link up with them and then reply. So post, follow back, link up. And then the third part of that strategy is reply to people. So go through the home feed. And as you see things that pique your interest, that perk your brain and, I have an opinion on that. Post your opinion, share your opinion, reply, give it a like. You could even be like Instagram where it's just emojis, it's the fire emoji, thumbs up emoji, firework emoji, right? It doesn't even have to be words right now. But when you are replying, think about it. What do you want when you join the app? You don't want crickets when you join. You don't want to post and like, oh, no one said anything. So you remember the people who reply and you have that connection. And then the fourth thing, which I think is the most important, right? Everyone goes in and you'll sell courses about get followers, right? Sure. And everyone wants to know that. But I think the most important part is making those connections of real people. And this takes a little more time, but real people you could do business with, you could create a joint venture with. So that's the other exciting thing that I'm seeing is almost immediately when I joined, I saw several people like blast from the past or blog world days and people who have been on my mind that I need to reach out to that might promote the Real Toolkit for their list. And we do a joint venture and we split the profits. And now I don't have to reach out to them via text or sending them a random email. Hey, remember me? I'm literally having that conversation on threads because that's where everyone is jumping on. So major influencers are paying attention to it right now. That's why I want you to be there and then connect with those major influencers. Now, here's the fifth strategy is a bit of a hack on growing your followers, but also really getting followers that are engaging people. So one of the things back in the day when Twitter first came out, it was follow, follow, follow. So you could get the follow back, right? That was a big, strategy. Mari Smith talked about that a lot. And then she found like there's a cap that you can only follow, I think 2,000 people a day. So she literally would have her VA just follow all of these people. And that was a big strategy. Yes, you could do that on threads but here's a way to do it better and more strategically. You find an influencer that you really, really like, that you resonate with. And then you go into their threads, see who's replying to them. Those are the people that I like to follow because I'm following what Scobelizer calls noisy people, as in they have conversations. They're not just lurkers. They don't just follow and just don't engage. You want an active group of engaging people that when you tweet or thread or post, they're replying back to you. When you have an engaging post, that's what gets your post in front of more people. That's how the algorithm works. So that's the hack on the follow back to get more followers, but get engaging followers. And then the next thing that I do, so say, let's look at Gary Vee. He and I, both from the New York, Jersey area, we lived in the same town for a bit. And we see things eye to eye. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like him because he curses. I'm from Jersey. I don't even notice it. So it doesn't bother me whatsoever. But he's always talking about right? Having that first movers advantage, the puck, love his thinking. So it's natural to think his followers would be great as my followers. So instead of just following the followers, I first go into people he follows. So that's the first part of the strategy. Secondly, instead of following all of them, I look for the verified check mark. And one, it used to be something that only you would get, it would only like be blessed upon you. Now you can actually pay for it. So I don't care how they got their check mark. One, if they got it because they're truly verified and they're an influencer, great. But quite frankly, if they pay for it, what does that tell you? They're willing to invest in social media, which means they're willing to pay for things, which means if I have a course on social media, willing to pay. So why follow someone that doesn't have the check mark when, say, you only want to follow 100 people that day, or say you have a cap? I don't know if there's a cap yet. Haven't found out. I know that's a question, Joanne. I see the question. You're like, what's the cap? Don't know yet. But if there is a cap, I want to first fill it with Twitter check marks. And then again, that second component, like I said earlier, I like to follow the people that are talking back to Gary, because that means when I have an engaging post, they will talk back with me. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, as far as some of the secret strategies that, quite frankly, I only share with people who are paying me the 10K a month or here in the group club call. And the reason why is because when I share it publicly, people think it's up for debate or they want to argue with it. This isn't something where I say, oh, well, maybe Twitter, what do you think? Which one's going to exist? This is from 20 years of experience being on social and seeing when Clubhouse was there in the early days. And by the way, one of the things I said in August, I'm like, once the marketers get in here and join, it's going to be better. And it's also going to be worse because marketers ruin everything. We know this, right? So get in now where the early adopters are there, get real connections. Oh, and then something I didn't write down, but top of mind, one of the other things too is what we used to do, twitter.search.com was a place we would do a search for clients. So one of the biggest phrases, and we'll test this in threads as well, is anyone know? And then it's anyone know a chiropractor, a dentist, a doctor, a plastic surgeon, a sound healer, a therapist, whatever it is. And then you fill in the blanks with what is your industry. So, anyone know a personal coach? It might be. Anyone know a marketing coach? It's people looking for you specifically. And then the second part of that component, when we would teach this as a strategy to find clients online, is what is the pain point that you solve? So then you put pain point keywords in the search term to find people who are talking about things that you can solve, that you can help with. So that's a great way to immediately find a hungry client that you can serve instantly. And obviously that's who you follow. Quite frankly, you could only follow 100 people that are your potential clients. And then maybe it grows to 500 people or 300 people, and you would have enough to make the platform worthwhile. So don't go in there thinking, I've got to find, I need 10,000 followers or I need 1 million. From the days of MySpace, we've never needed more than 3,000 followers to have a growing, thriving coaching practice. So don't feel like you've got to get caught up with the numbers and compete. Know that 100 to 300 is a great number to start with, especially if you're paying attention to that core 100, right? Where once you get into the 30,000, you can't possibly pay attention to all of those tweets and threads. So you might want to keep it very limited and really pay attention to that limited group of people. Like again, Scott Monty, who used to run the social for Ford Motor Companies, is talking about. He's no longer there right now, but that's one of the things he's doing. He's only following a few people or a handful of people that he really wants to have conversations with. So now you get to decide, is it that you want the numbers? Is it social proof? Is it just mass? Do you have a low ticket product to reach the masses? Or do you have a high ticket and you really want to nurture a small number of people? That's often been my strategy with my social network, but it's up to you, right? Everyone has a different strategy. That's where you decide where it is for you. And then we talked about videos coming. We talked about Twitter and threads, not Twitter versus threads. So feel free to engage in that conversation. But my prediction, Scoble's prediction, is they will both thrive They will, and quite frankly, here's what's funny. I was saying in the beginning that I've basically ignored Twitter. Yeah, wrote the first book, but I got burnt out. I just got bored of it, right? I got burnt out over it. So I wasn't there for the longest. I'm going to say I probably ignored it for a good year. Now that Threads is there, well, where did I go first to hear conversations and what people are talking about Threads? I went to Twitter. So we're seeing both user base rise right now. And it's funny because both platforms are both having conversations about each other on the other opposing platform. So I don't feel like you have to choose. And then quite frankly, those of you who are using some of the scripts that we gave you in some of the monthly conversation starters and things like that and hooks, now the easy thing is it's just one more place that people see you. And that way, if people say, oh, I'm only going to be on Threads or I'm only going to be on Twitter, well, you want to be in both places. So either camp sees you instead of your competitor who says, well, I'm only going to go all in on Twitter or I'm only going to pay attention to Threads. Great. That's good news for you. Because if you're in both places, your competitors clients see you and you get to scoop them off. I talked about engaging, replying, being the first follower, and where the party's at. I think that is the rant and the strategy, all New York style in a nutshell. Now let's open it up for questions. I'm going to see there's 21 chats in here. I don't know if those were just affirmations or any questions, but feel free if you have a question or a comment or thoughts, jump in. So just take yourself off mute. Go ahead, Joanne.
Okay,
Love member from the beginning, founding member. Go ahead. Love to see you.
And it's good to be around. Okay, so someone asked earlier, what is Robert's last name? How do you spell Robert's last name?
Oh, so Scobalizer. So it's at Scobalizer. I'll type it in there. But it is, so it's Robert Scoble, SCOBLE, but it's at Scobalizer. So SCOBLEIZER.
Okay.
That is what that's what he looked like back in the Twitter days. He's not much different, but that is his username right there on the screen.
Okay, cool. That was number one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Number two.
He's one of my favorites. Absolute brilliant in tech. The man, I can't imagine his net worth. He invested in Tesla back in the early days. So many of these early things that you're like, whoa, if I only knew about that. And yet he's the most approachable human being that you just never know. Oh, Tara asked, can we schedule posts? I'm not sure yet. I think the other apps like Metricole.vip has to catch up with it. But my prediction is once they see that, yep, and this is a very fast, quick user base right now, they will very quickly adapt to it. So right now there is no way to schedule it. You have to be there live. And that's part of why I think people are enjoying Threads, because it's real people talking in real time. It's not just some bot that posted it. Now you can schedule them if you have a VA and then you give them, right? But here's why Twitter was awesome back in the day and why Clubhouse was awesome back in the day when the party was there is because it was real human beings talking to real human beings. It wasn't your bot talking to somebody else's bot, which is no good when you're talking about real connections. And that's what I like to teach and preach is connections, that real connection, not just how many followers do you have? Who cares? It's how many people do you really connect with and can do business with and help and serve. That is way more important in my book than your follower number. Yeah. So that's why I think people are liking it because it's real back and forth conversation of people who are there right now. That will 100% fade and change within 6 months, if not sooner, maybe 3 months. Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing when I saw it was on Threads, I went and signed on to Threads and I think I did it wrong. So if I didn't follow everybody on Instagram and everything else, is there a way to fix that once you've already started?
Yes, you can go back. I think it's like, I can look at it. You go back into settings and then it will just link them up. I don't think you screw it up and then you're screwed forever.
Because I just went into Threads and it says empty. You're all caught up and there's not one single thread anywhere for anything. So I don't know how to get started.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would go back in there in settings. I'll look that up as others are asking questions as well. But there should be a way to then link to your Instagram followers. And by the way, Chris Perillo, he was like the friendly geek that you could kind of see. He almost has like a Jerry Lewis style. It was really funny to see him in there, but he's predicting now he's someone who's taking a side. He's predicting that Threads will beat Twitter, and he explains why. Again, it's in 2 minutes, but the highlight of it is because activity pub support is one of those things that say Threads dies in the long, like say no one cares about it anymore, goes in the way of like Vine. The nice thing about that is activity pub will pull all of the followers from Threads over there. And then there's another platform that he talks about in that video. So that's significant. And it's significant for two things. One, because great, all the time you pay attention, growing followers there, you don't have to worry if the next best app is there. You just can export them over, import them over. The second thing is that exists right now. That means Twitter and other apps will say, oh, shoot, we need to catch up and do the same thing. This is where I believe competition helps us, the end user, because both apps will just start, oh, you're doing this, they're going to copy. That meme is one of the funniest memes where you see Mr. Bean kind of copying. We saw this with when IG copied Snapchat for stories, and now it's just copying Twitter. So IG is a big copycat. And once again, I can say this because it's a private call and Facebook won't shut me down. If I said it on their platform, I'd probably get shut down. So yeah.
I can't find settings. So if someone finds settings, let me know.
Go into your profile. Let's see. Let me go over here. So you see there's a world on the one side, and then on the other side, there's that, I hit the wrong.
Want me to share my screen?
It's right. So see above my picture. Does it have to be on a phone? What's up?
Does it have to be on my phone?
So are you using it on desktop?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's so that means Threads is now on desktop. When it first launched, it was only on the phone. But
it's personal workspace, but there's nothing showing up. That's why I say it looks like.
Oh yeah, go on your phone. Yeah, in the beginning, it wasn't even available on desktop. So desktop will always be behind an app. And then on your phone, it's right above your picture, above the little Instagram picture to the right. It's like two lines. You see that in the corner?
Sense. I'll go on my phone. I'll try to find it.
Yeah, click on that. And then it says follow, invite friends right at the top. There's also notifications, privacy. But then here you can either invite them, and I would absolutely share this on your other platforms. Okay. And then here is pause notifications. Eventually I'm going to have to hit pause because right now they're all on. But then go to account and let's see if you can get info. Oh, and so this is what's great. You can download information, transfer your information. So this is going to be pivotal right now, that other apps like Twitter, like Facebook, for instance, since they own it, will start following and doing the same. And I just made that blurry. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing something wrong. It's telling me, oops, looks like you've been logged out. Log in again. Do I have to go in through Instagram to come back in?
Did you download Threads on your phone yet?
Have I what?
Have you downloaded Threads on your phone?
Well, I just said open Threads and it gave me this screen.
Oh.
And it said you've logged out. But now when I try to log back in, it just keeps saying, oops, you've been logged out. So I'll go in through Instagram and see if I can cut over.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what I would do, let me just, what I would do is totally log out. Like, you know how you swipe up and just get all your apps. That might be the first thing to do to really be out. If you're kind of in, but you're not. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I need to get a cloth to get the focus in right here. Okay. Let's see. And then replays. If I think a few people were invited as a guest to join here. This is one of our club level calls every Tuesday that we have that. So it will be in the club Voomly account. For replays. So if you're here live, really count yourself lucky because we're not sending a replay out to our list. I think Amy sent a few guest passes for people who just grabbed the real toolkit because this is a very important topic of Threads. And we typically reserve this for club members, but we thought if you just grab the toolkit or the Real Accelerator program, you should know about Threads and join that. So if you're here live, pat yourself on the back. Let me throw Oh, in the middle of the first book on Threads. No, I'm not, Joanne. You're like Scott. Every time something new, he's like, are you going to write the first book? Yeah, he's the one who challenged me to do it on Clubhouse. That was great. We did it in a month. I'm not doing it on Threads. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get this. I'm going to replace everywhere I said Twitter. I'm going to tell ChatGPT to replace it with Threads, and then I'm going to upload it in your Club Boomly account. So you'll have the book. It'll just be the Thread Revolution. But no, I'm not writing any book on Thread because it's literally the same thing. It's not different than Twitter, despite people talking about that it is. It's not. It's exactly the same. It's just owned by Instagram. It's a competitor, right? Let's see. Here we go. Oh, and thank you, Eva. I'm scrolling up. You were the lovely producer in the beginning, helping people with your volume. And I'm scrolling down. Deb, I'm blurry. Yes, I love it. Eva, you are my official virtual producer here. Thank you very much. Shelly says, thank you. Yeah. So any other questions about Threads or any maybe debate? Does anyone want to debate like if it's going to be significant or not? What are your thoughts? How many people are on Threads? If you're on video, I love the smile, Martin. I don't know if that means you're on it. If you're not, if you are, I see Tara, Trader is, Eva is. Okay. So a couple people are not yet. This is good. How many people based on what I just shared are, oh, there we go. Joy, thanks for turning your camera on. Martin, is that like, yes, I'm going to join now based on what I just, yes. Take yourself off mute. Tell me what you thought about what I just shared. Rapid fire, New York style, or I should say TikTok style.
Yeah, I'm from Boston, so sorry. Well, I'm just getting started on all these platforms, so it's just another place to be for me.
Yes. And then what do you do? What's your industry?
Restaurant marketing, social media.
Oh, you're Marty. You hit us up about, yes. Awesome. Yes. So one of the things we'll be focusing on in the future for the Real Accelerator are scripts specifically for the restaurant niche. So now I have a face to the name. I love it. I love it. Do you prefer Martin or Marty?
Either one doesn't matter. Yeah.
What do your friends call you?
My long-term friends call me Marty. My parents always called me Martin. Now I'm 65 and it's like, am I still Marty? I don't know.
Well, the question is, how old do you feel in your mind?
I don't even think about that.
He's like, I don't know. It's like, I feel 35 until I get up out of bed and then I feel 65 in the morning. I'm like, oh, I think Joe Coy does a special on that where he's just like, yeah, the older we get, the more we have to stretch just to get out of bed and take a walk. I get it now. I get it. Yeah. So good to meet you. Yes, we will absolutely create some scripts specifically for the restaurant, which is an absolute great niche as well, especially for social. So for you, 100%, you want to get involved in Threads and start reaching out to restaurant groups. So for you, I would specifically do a search for restaurants and then go local, right? Go find locals really in your specific region, not even just Boston, but like what's the town that you're in, and then hit up the most local restaurants there and then try to help them with your social media management.
Yeah. Now I'm in Florida. So.
Oh, okay. What part?
I'm just in the Panhandle.
Okay.
So yeah, it's tough here. It's a restaurant desert. So, so I reach out to Tallahassee and Panama City, and they're like an hour plus away either way. So,
right. Yeah. And again, it's virtual. So you can, you could help them anywhere, but obviously if local, right there, again, familiarity, just like the mere exposure effect. It's like, hey, I'm from Boston. And, you throw in the accent there but you pack your car and all that, right? Like people have that familiarity and they're like, oh, you're just like me. I trust you. So it's like, oh, hey, I'm your neighbor. It's like, oh, for some reason that familiarity by closeness and proximity is an instant bond as well. Right. So yeah, go local, but then, go regional as well. Go back to where you used to live, right? You know that area, and then you can help them. And it's not, again, you don't even have to do that in person. You could do it virtual. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank
Welcome. You. It's good to meet you. And yeah, and congrats because you got the Real Accelerator program. So congrats. It's good to see you here. I mean, I'm glad you
Right.
got Amy's invite. And then, yeah, if you ever, any of you here who want to join our club calls where we meet every Tuesday, my goal is to give you the information first before anybody else. And quite frankly, it's just because it's nicer and easier than having the debate in the open market. I'm already seeing gurus like, oh, I'm over threads already. I'm like, really? It's not even been a week yet. And I'll always take let me take a moment and see. I don't take a wait and see, a month or a year, but I take let me look at this. Let me analyze this before I ever say anything. And like I said in the beginning, Clapper came out a month ago and they were like, these new social media gurus are like, Clapper's the next best thing. I'm like, no, it's not. Quite frankly, Hema replied, one of my friends, she's like, it sounds like an STD. And I'm like, quite frankly, the name is often a killer for certain things. And I'm seeing the nodding, right? Like, who wants to be on Clapper? No. So I literally spoke nothing, zero, zilch about Clapper. Again, I grabbed my name because I didn't want anyone else to. I immediately didn't like the user interface. And then I watched the chatter. And because I follow like people like Scobalizer and Chris Perillo and all of the Silicon Valley guys who they're there in the conversations. So if they're not talking about it, if they're not excited about it, I'm typically not either. And I didn't see anyone talking about Clapper. And sure enough, like no one's talking about it anymore. Threads is completely different because owned by Instagram, owned by Facebook, who is actually Meta. By the way, quick survey here. Anyone actually use the term Meta to describe Facebook? Seeing no one, right? I saw someone do this in a group and I'm like, yeah. And Joy's like, no, right? It's always going to be Facebook. It's like Martin. You're always going to be Martin to your parents, but you're always going to be Marty to your friends that started calling you Marty. It's like what we get used to, that is it. We don't want the change. And quite frankly, that's kind of what happens with these social media apps. Immediately the human mind and brain and spirit resist change. They resist anything new, or because of social media exhaustion, we resist it because quite frankly, we have zero time for another new app. So I'm not saying go all in and spend 8 hours. I'm just saying have some conversations, have, if you commute, if you are driving anywhere, whatever, that's when I'm typically on apps as well, when I'm flying somewhere and I have some downtime. So don't feel you have to go all in, just use it and Twitter, right? Get those quotes out there. And by the way, this is again, the puck advantage. Start doing the reels that you're uploading to Instagram, TikTok, and Shorts. Start putting them on Threads before anyone else is doing this, and have your thread, your profile get followed for the value that you provide, or the inspiration that you provide, or whatever it is that you provide. Use those videos that you're already creating, put them on Threads. So it's not like it's extra work. Only part of the extra work is networking. And I look at that like, hey, if you go to a BNI or Chamber of Commerce or Rotary or whatever in person, and this was my argument way back in the day, when Twitter was like, oh, it's too much time. I'm like, really? I'm in Hawaii and it takes me 45 minutes to an hour just to get to Honolulu. I was on the North Shore. It takes me an hour to do my hair and makeup, especially if we're doing the full wash the hair, comb it, blow dry it, curl it, flat. I mean, it takes, right, ladies, takes a lot of time. And then go there, and then you're networking. And then maybe you talk to 3 people, and 3 people in person that you didn't read their profile for. And you realize we have nothing in common. There's no way we're doing business, right? I think in-person networking takes way more time than hopping on Twitter or Threads, doing a little research on their profile, and then seeing if that is a potential person to do business with. Joy, what is your question? Go ahead.
So just real quick, I had read where posting videos on Threads will get you sent to Threads prison, Threads jail. Saw that on Christine Galbato's post. There were thousands of responses. So I don't know if it's true or not.
I don't agree. And I say do it first before other people. Yeah. Right now, it may be a debate. And again, I even see people talking about, I love this. Video is dead. So it's like people talked about podcasting was dead. And then a year later, Joe Rogan gets the biggest deal in podcast history. Podcasting isn't dead. Blogging isn't dead. And neither is video. And it never will be, for the same reason that right now you and I are on video. It's a conference, it's live, but video will never go away. And it will always increase your connection faster than just text alone. So I say do it first, again, I'm all about puck advantage, right? I could be proved wrong, but I'm okay with posting videos up there before anyone else and then having other people follow that trend than being behind the 8 ball. We're going to use, sports analogies. And I love that I'm turning colors from gray to pink to whatever. I think I messed with my camera. I'm going to have to change that in the settings when I started showing my screen. But yeah, I don't agree with that. And there are a lot of gurus right now that are like, Threads is already dead. I'm over it. And again, fine. But if you're really looking for new clients, why not go to where everyone is right now? In a month from now, people may be over it, right? Our attention span is short. So think of this like going to a conference, and that conference is a 3-day or a 7-day conference. Make connections, give them something valuable. The most important thing is get them on your list so that when all of these apps go by the wayside, MySpace, FriendFeed, all of those, right? Vine, it doesn't matter because you spent the time doing it right and getting them on your list. So that's the nice thing. Your URL can immediately go in the profile, and they allow for a link in your profile. You don't have to have 10,000 followers like Instagram required back in the day. So that's the other really nice thing. So yeah. Trader Rob, I find myself using Meta at the beginning of discovery calls, but almost always revert back to using Facebook by the end of the call. Yeah, it's just what people are familiar with. Hey, any final questions from either guests or club members before we wrap up? Good to see your faces. Good to see you, Dr. Burkle, again.
Good to see you too.
Are you in your home
Thanks.
office right now today?
Yes.
Awesome. Day off or? Is it?
Day off, yes, but I'm heading out to work tonight. I work out of town.
Got
yeah.
it.
Head out to work this evening, go to my hotel and go to work tomorrow.
Got it. Well, enjoy your day off. Thanks for joining us on your day off.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And then any questions about this? Are you going to jump on Threads?
Yeah. I'm here to learn. I'm here to apply what I learned. So
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, it was good seeing you all. Aloha. And I'll see my club members next Tuesday, same bat channel, same bat place. We'll probably have a Q&A session, go into some strategy, maybe put one of you on a hot seat, talk about reels. And yes.
Deb, sorry. Condora's got a quick question.
Sure. Go ahead.
Hey, Deb, I actually have 3 super
Oh,
quick
sorry,
questions,
great.
if I may. Sorry.
Go ahead, Condora.
Okay, so the first one is, what is the best app to use to transcribe video?
Explain what you'd want to do.
So, for example, for my poem, we're making a video, and I want I'm reading it, and I want the words to appear alongside it. Is there an app that would do that?
Yeah. So first I would say Descript.vip is the absolute best app for everything from transcribing it to adding videos to it. But if you just want to do some videos or just have the poem to have like captions, literally the captions app on your phone, I think it's 30 something a year. That's a great app. You can use it on your phone, and you can use it for any of your videos that you upload. It'll automatically transcribe it and give fancy captions. Yes.
And if, for example, because quite often you see transcriptions where they've spelt it wrong, can you go back in and edit those?
Yes. Yeah. Especially Descript. Again, Descript.vip, 100%. I don't know that I've ever edited in captions, but Descript.vip, yes. And again, when you and I have talked offline about your poem and some of the things you want to do from it, for you, I would highly recommend the Descript one because you can have videos attached to the words, and it's smart. It's using AI. It will recommend the ones for the phrases that you're inputting in. Yes. Oh, and Trader Rob, did you have another suggestion too?
No, I have a question after they finish. One real
Okay.
quick about it.
Okay, perfect. So you are up next. Kunder, you said you had 3 questions. What's your second one?
Okay, thank you. And I was wondering, is there a thing, remember like clinics had like Traffigizer and things like that. Is there a place where they will syndicate across the various platforms so you're not constantly opening all these different apps to post things?
Yeah, so StreamYard.vip, I did a video about this, I don't know, years ago when it first came out with the founder. And I'm getting more people signing up for a StreamYard account now than I ever was in the beginning. Again, it's like the people that follow the puck and now they're all hearing about it. It's by far the best place to stream either live video to multiple platforms all at once or pre-recorded, and you just upload it to blast out at a specific time. So StreamYard.vip is the one to syndicate it. So it's basically like the Oprah show, and it's not just showing in Chicago, it's in New York, it's in Australia, it's everywhere, as long as there's licensing deals. But that's like StreamYard. And the free account, I think you can just stream to one place. The first level paid account, it's 3 places. And then the higher pro level, I believe it's up to 8 places that you can syndicate it. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the last one, and I know you told us this before, and I'm sorry to ask again, but when you have like a video, say I have like a 2-minute video, and I just want to reduce it to like maybe 2 parts of that video, which would be like 7 or 8 seconds or something like that. What is the best thing for that? Is that CapCut?
Oh, so a couple ones. So I think we talked about content fries, where you have a long form content and it'll give you clips, and AI is doing it. GoPro camera, that's another thing we haven't really talked about. GoPro camera footage. So I'm now doing this where I'll film the whole stage presentation, but then GoPro, the AI technology just sees where there's activity and action, and it gives you clips. This is obviously better in real life when you're doing something, you know, out in the wild, so to speak, as opposed to just on stage where it's a talking head. But I like to have a highlight reel where I'm animated, and again, the Italian in me has me using my hands a lot. So that's what it's signifying and going, oh, I'm going to grab this clip here, this clip here. I'm interacting with the audience over here, and it grabs it. So when you're filming things with GoPro, you get the GoPro app, and it's literally doing this for you. And then content fries.
I don't have the GoPro camera.
Okay,
so
yeah. Content fries, it's just you upload, say, if you have an hour long talking head like this video here, we have an hour of instructions, but I would put it up into content fries, and it would artificially, again, AI just knows good content. Now, it's not perfect. You still kind of have to perfect it a little bit, but it's far better and cheaper than hiring someone to go through that. And 40 hours later, you've got some clips. So content fries would be the place that I would recommend. Yeah. To
even
get,
for like
and it's doing it in different sizes. What's up?
Sorry. So I was going to say, would you still recommend content fries if you had like a 2-minute video and you just want maybe like 7 seconds out of that video?
So then I would use, so again, Descript, same one we were talking about the transcription for, I would get that, make a copy of each one, and then just grab the 7 seconds and delete the rest. And it literally is like a Word document, and you can just get that 1 sentence from your whole transcription, delete all the rest, and your video will just be the 7 seconds of the words that you said. So say each line of your poem, you would just have, say it's 10 lines, you would have 10 copies of your video, and each one would just be the first line, and then cut the rest. The second one would be just the second line. And it's literally as easy as like, double clicking, triple clicking for the whole sentence or paragraph and deleting it just like you would on a Word document. You don't even have to know how to edit in a video editing app. So this is why I say Descript.vip does everything. It really, really, really does. And eventually you can train it with your voice as you're doing all these videos. And then you don't even have to speak or record. You can just type and it'll do videos in your voice. So voice dubbing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Deb.
Rob, you said you had a question. Go ahead. And then actually I'm going to do and before everyone, if you want, I'm going to do a screenshot of all y'all because you have lovely smiley faces. I'm going to do a screenshot. So if you just want to look at the camera and smile or wave, I'm going to go 3, 2, and screenshot. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Go ahead. Rob, take it away.
Is now the time to get my authority out there, get my brand out there on Threads, or should I just continue with my marketing from Instagram?
So I would 100% do whatever you're doing on Instagram on Threads as well, because some people are just not on Instagram. They're just not paying attention to it, even though they're linked up. Some people just don't like it. Some people don't like Facebook. Some people don't like Twitter. So you're reaching a new market. Some of them, obviously, there's overlap and there's duplicate, but there's the new market and everyone's talking about it right now. So it's the hottest one. So even if you say the next month, I'm going to go all in on threads and then drive them over to your opt-in. You know about funnels, you know about opt-ins, drive them all to get something that's so amazing that they would pay for, give it away for free by sending them to your opt-in and grow your email list, right? So that's for everyone. Hey, threads might be the hottest thing right now and be a blip in the night, say a month from now. Let's just say, I think it'll last, but it will never be what everyone's talking about right now, like the 1950s, everyone going to the theater right now and talking about that movie. That's what is happening right now with threads. So go all in on threads, but put it also on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else. Like, it doesn't have to be exclusive content. Yeah. Yeah. So
okay. And my other thing is, there a lot of the workbook stuff, things that you've made that have given us, I noticed a while back that TubeBuddy has their little clip maker where you can get short form videos. Did you already do any training on that?
I did training on TubeBuddy like back in the boot camp days. So it would be in the 50-hour boot camp training that you and Joanne and Eva were in. But that may be worthwhile bringing one of the guys I know, Rob. There's a few other new people that work for TubeBuddy, but bringing them back because they're also now doing a lot more with AI now. And by the way, anyone who's just hearing about TubeBuddy, it's basically been artificial intelligence for YouTube, and it's been around for at least 5 years. We've been talking about it, maybe longer, but 5 years, pulling artificial intelligence to help us with tags, titles, get the most reach for our videos. That's what we've been using. And I think TubeBuddy.vip might be the affiliate link, but TubeBuddy has been by far my favorite app. I think we got a lifetime deal through one of the, I don't know if that's available anymore, but it's super cheap. If you're using YouTube video, it will literally tell you the best title, the best description, and even suggest keywords for you. You're just like clicking and just following. It's almost like having a producer for you and an SEO specialist working for you.
And they have something new. I think it's new anyways. I've recently become aware of it to where it'll actually tell you what 60 seconds of your video is the best one to make a short out of.
Yes. I believe that is the new AI features that they've added to it. Yeah, I haven't used it yet, but that's going to be exciting. Yeah,
that's what I was wondering about. I saw them talking about that and the advertisement. I've been looking into it. I've kind of been starting to get into it, but haven't applied it to what you've given us just yet. But I was wondering if you already had created training for it or not.
Yeah, it would just be in one of the boot camp trainings, like way back in the beginning days. Yeah. And then it could even be in my YouTube channel, like one of the old channels where I did an interview with Rob. But I have to do a little research to find it. But I feel like anything then, I don't know that I would go back to it because yes, some of the things obviously in writing a post and things like that. I think where I would look, Rob, I remember doing something with Joanne where we looked at her YouTube channel and we did a hot seat. And that we dove into TubeBuddy specifically. So that would be the call that I would look at, like do a search in Voomly, either in the club call or in the boot camp recordings. But anything new, we would just have to bring Rob or whoever else that's like the current spokesperson for TubeBuddy. But that's a great, I'm going to put that on our list of guests to bring in because that's definitely on the list of one of my favorite apps. And it's been around for a while, right? Like the AI is not new to them. They just keep adding AI features. And that's one of them. That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah.
The TubeBuddy and vidIQ, I can't live without them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right. And then anyone who wants to join the club call, just send us an email and we'll get you a link and a special coupon code. Because if you got the Real Toolkit, you are in that 30 days where you get our VIP. I think it's like something VIP 50 maybe for all of the people who got the Real Toolkit. Try that. And then socialvideo.club is the place that we have. I'm just going to pull it up just to make sure that is the current social video. Oh, and then I think the .vip is the one that gets, yes, scratch the one I was saying before, go to, instead of .club, that's go to socialvideo.vip, and that gets you in at a discount and gives you the ability to join at for the year as well. And I would put VIP 50 if I'm remembering correctly. Let me make sure this goes to everyone here. I think it's, here we go. So this is the link. And then I'm just going to click on this and let's see if VIP 50 works in the little coupon code. Let's see, I'll go into here. I'm going to do this for now. Let's share screen. Here we go. This should be sharing the right screen. Yes. Okay. So this is up at the top, socialvideo.vip. This is either monthly, and then you just come and go if you want, stay for a month, leave, stay for a couple months, leave, or we do a discount where you get 2 months for free if you pay in full. And say, if you just want the monthly plan, you click on that, you go over here and let's see. So this is monthly, this is pay in full. But if you say coupon code, click here and let's see if VIP 50 still works. I think that's what Amy sent me. VIP 50, is that coming up? Yes. Hit apply. So it's really, oh, it's invalid code. Hang on. Let's get one for you that will work, or send out an email. And then we'll wrap up. Any other final questions while I'm seeing? I'm going to have Amy create a coupon code for y'all.
When are you coming to Tampa?
Oh, after the summer, I'm actually going to Vegas next week, and it's supposed to be 115 to 117 degrees. Amy's like, are you sure? Do you want to, I'm like, no, I'm not sure. I definitely don't want to, but I have a speaking gig for the EO group. So I'm going to share the stuff, get in and get out as quickly as possible and try to stay in air conditioning. I think someone bought me this like electronic fan. I think I'm just going to walk around I'm going to walk out of the airport and just like, you know, those spray things that where you put water and you just have like a mist. I think that's how I'm going to survive. Yes. Let's see. Let me see. It's good to see your faces, but yeah, so go ahead and type that in, but let me get you a coupon code. We'll send out an email so that those of you who want to join our Tuesday club calls and then get on the hot seat, do some strategy for reels. We'll do that. Let me see if I can search here. Coupon code. I think VIP 50, I think that expired, but thought she created something recently for someone. Yeah, VIP 50 expired, but we'll find that out and I will send an email, or just send us an email to support@mbocollege.com and say, I want in the club, but I want the coupon hookup, the VIP hookup. Yeah, ask for the VIP hookup. Say, Deb says I am qualified for it. If you came to this live, that means you're serious about it. And yeah, we'll hook you up. And with that, I'm going to say aloha. I'll see club members next Tuesday, and anyone joining, I'll see you next Tuesday. Again, happy reeling, and right now, happy threading. Aloha. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Sure, thanks.